October is that time of year. If you're looking for something from the 90s that's an anime and is scarily more relevant today, Perfect Blue is just for you. I'll see myself out. What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. Before we get started, if you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, support the channel by clicking the like button and subscribe for more of that content. Perfect Blue is an anime feature film from 1997, directed and written by the late Satoshi Kon as his directorial debut, based on the manga Perfect Blue Complete Metamorphosis by Yoshikazu Takuchi. I probably butchered that, I apologize. Fun fact, the film was originally supposed to be live action. However, due to the Kobe earthquake in 1995 damaging the production studio, the budget was reduced to release an original anime. This is a spoiler review for the movie. There's a link to the full movie on YouTube that I will link in the description. The amount of suspense that comes from the film is just fantastic. It felt like watching an Alfred Hitchcock movie. I highly recommend you watch the movie, then come back. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Perfect Blue is a film on duality. The duality between true self and the icon. The focus is on Mima Kirigoe, a Japanese idol singer who has one last concert and reveals that she will let go of her pop star life to become an actress. The opening song of the movie, Angel of Love, is a banger, like most songs in anime. Just don't listen to it in an elevator. The other song, Cherish These Memories, slaps as well. I'll link them in the description. In the opening minutes of this 81-minute film, we get a few important things. The film opens up with a knockoff version of the Power Rangers fighting some generic villain, until we're shown that it's just a stage performance. It sets the stage that perspective will be an important theme throughout the movie. We are able to understand these two distinct personalities of Mima with this energetic pop star life and her everyday, regular self, like getting groceries and feeding her fishes. I really have to commend the art as her apartment is filled with all of this detail. With the stuffed animals, the fish tank, the poster. It grounds the celebrity we saw in the opening minutes as a way of connecting us to her, as it feels like we're at home, familiar with this environment. This warm and familiar setup is what will lead into these dark moments that Mima gets later into the film. Mima is a part of a television show, Double Bind. She starts off as a minor character with only one line, "Who are you?" As it's the same question she asks about the cell phone call with only heavy breathing coming from the other end, and the anonymous fax that reads traitor. The character of Rumi was handled very well. Rumi was a pop star herself until she became an agent for Mima. As you know, if you've seen the film, there's a twist of Rumi being the pop star Mima personality incarnate. The thing was that the film was really focusing on the stalker character, which I'll get back to in a bit, and a lot of stuff that Rumi was saying or doing was very subtle, that it was hard to notice until a second viewing. You get to see her facial expressions whenever somebody brings up the fact that Mima is no longer a pop star. After the letter bomb incident to Mima's agent, Tadakoro, she is more interested in setting up the computer rather than what happened to him. The internet is what leads to all of these issues for Mima, as the details down to the direct sentences that she said that only Rumi would know, as well as a recording of Mima practicing her line. There are a lot of scenes that feels like everyday conversation and actions only to be shown that they are scenes in double bind. Like when Mima is walking down the street until a guy asks her if she wants to be a model, or after the elevator death, there's what looks like an ambulance siren, but it's only a kid in a toy car. All things starts to spiral downwards as Mima is to do a rape scene for the show. Before the rape scene happens, there's a shot focusing on one side of Mima. She's nervous, uncomfortable. She looks like she does not want to do the scene. Once the take commences, you see the other side of Mima. Obviously this just means she's a great actress, but the idea is that it's mainly showing a way that she is straying away from the pop star Mima. Rumi cries at the sight and leaves. With the paranoia of being stalked and all the new information from Mima's room that is writing facts as well as fiction under her name, she starts to develop a psychosis or a difficulty in separating her personal life to her work life. All of this occurs while the screenwriter is killed in an elevator that was blasting Angel of Love. The line that was played at the death was, "Love makes your heart race. If it means you're loved in the end, be much more aggressive," signaling that this is where the lyrics can be taken as a form of pursuing yourself for love, but it can also be taken as a way of being more violent because of what you love, which is what the death shows as the screenwriter is killed with his eyes gouged out. Going back to perspective, we see Mima is starting to get more sexualized. The scenes are made in a way that it's being viewed from another point of view, but when we get to see Mima's point of view, it breaks her as it shows that people have the ability to choose how they perceive others. And in the case of Mima, her fear of this perception manifests itself in the form of her pop star self, who claims that she is still pure over the corrupted actress. You get the iconic shot of Mima curled up in a ball in the bathtub. If this scene looks familiar, it was used in Requiem for a Dream in 2000, directed by Darren Aronofsky. He purchased the rights to Perfect Blue so that he could use this recreation. He also directed Black Swan in 2010. He acknowledged the similarities that were present in the film, but denied that it was inspired by Perfect Blue. I enjoyed both of those films, but that's a stretch. That's another video for another day. Mima is so broken that she isn't even able to differentiate if the cuts on her hands from crushing the teacup is real or not, or if she went to the mall that day. There's a great line in the show, what if that illusion found someone else to possess? Which is what really blurs everything for Mima. Mima's character in the show is suffering from dissociative identity disorder, and the idea of having an illusion possessing another person, or the same person that can identify the difference, is an interesting way to connect these two Mima personalities. The photographer that took Mima's nudes is killed by a pizza boy, who is revealed to be Mima herself. Mima finds the blood-soaked clothes in her closet, but she has no recollection of killing the photographer. The connections to all the murders and the mental instability is at a point if Mima is even innocent, or even alive. After the completion of the show, the stalker captures Mima, believing that she is the imposter. Let's talk about the stalker as a character. The stalker character, Uchida, was set up as a character that we, the audience, believes that he was the one who's murdering everyone close to Mima. There's even a shot with Mima in the elevator as she reads a newspaper clipping of Tadashi Doi, who was the drunk kid that was interrupting the concert at the beginning, is in a critical condition, and Uchida is smiling back at her. He was pretty much the scapegoat for Rumi as she was the one who was sending emails to him, as if she was the real Mima. One of my favorite shots in the film was him cupping his hand, and it looks like Mima is dancing in the palm of his hand. It lets us know how Uchida sees Mima, going back to him being obsessed with the icon, rather than the true self. The way he sees Mima and the effects of her switching careers takes a violent toll on him, stalking her and hurting those around her, as the icon that he imagines is not actually how the real person is. He even goes as far as to purchase every adult magazine with her nudes in them. And the most terrifying thing about Perfect Blue as a film was the fact that this exact situation happened in the real world during the making of this film in 1996. Once again, the manga was created in 1991. In 1996, there was a man named Ricardo Lopez, who was also known as the Björk Stalker. He was obsessed with the singer Björk, and like a crazy simp, he sent fan mail and had a book diary and a video diary entries on fantasizing to Björk. He even wrote that he dreamed about making a time machine to be friends with her as a child in the 1970s. Yes.
I know.
When it turns out that Björk's personal life and romantic life did not align with his, he had a scheme to make a package that was rigged with sulfuric acid so that it would kill her, then he would kill himself so that they could be together in the afterlife. Thankfully, the package was intercepted and the bomb was deactivated. Lopez did commit suicide before then. There's a 70-minute documentary on the 22-hour video diary. I won't link it because it's a bit disturbing. The point is that this sort of thing happened in the real world, and the parallels are just horrifying to imagine. I feel like an idiot missing the line that Rumi says that she's taking Mima back to Mima's room, not in the possessive sense, in third person. Mima tries to call Tadokoro, but it's revealed that him and Uchida are dead. She starts to piece together that the room she's in is not her own, as most of her fishes died. Here, the tank is full. Also, the Cham poster's up when she took it down in the opening minutes of the film. Once she opens the curtains, there's a railroad outside, when it was nothing but apartments all around. Rumi is wearing a new dress and is taking the identity of pop star Mima. She believes that she is the real Mima, and the actress Mima, the actual Mima, is ruining her reputation. Rumi reveals that she was the one who created Mima's room and committed the murders throughout the film. She was using Uchida as a scapegoat to throw off her trail. Rumi and Mima get into a fight/chase throughout the city. I really like the line Mima says, "I am who I am," establishing her own identity is who she is and who she should be. Rumi tries to reach for the wig and stabs herself in the chest with a broken glass piece. This leads her to limping out into the street, and she is delirious to the point where she believes the headlights of a truck are stage lights with the crowd chanting Mimarin. But Mima saves her at the last moment. The film ends with Rumi in a psychiatric hospital. During the chase, we were seeing pop star Mima chasing after Mima, but in the reflections you would see Rumi. In the hospital, Mima is able to see Rumi in the room, and the reflection is pop star Mima, solidifying that Mima has finally controlled the perception of reality and fiction. Fiction is now the mirror image of reality compared to earlier in the film, where Mima had no idea what was real. The film ends with Mima in the car saying that she is real. There's an interesting thing about the last line. In the Japanese version, the line was delivered in Rumi's voice, while the English dub was delivered in Mima's voice. It kind of reminded me of the ending to Michael Jackson's Thriller. Let me get back to the art for this anime. I've mentioned it a few times in the review, but I really can't help myself. The art style for the anime is just phenomenal. The art style looks very unique for the 90s as they were more bold and poppy in comparison to here. Here it feels like every person is a real, regular person. It's not like a standard anime where every person is drawn in an attractive manner, but more like how an everyday person would look in the city. The only characters that are drawn in a more beautiful sense are the characters that are actors or pop stars, celebrities. It makes this world feel more real. This sort of art makes it feel like a real world that we are in, and the whole concept of the film is more terrifying as it doesn't seem like it's out of the possibility of happening to anyone in our world. When more shit comes to Mima's way, it's harder to distance yourself from her. The use of color throughout the film is like a character of its own, with the warmer, pristine colors at the beginning of the film as a way to show Mima's more bubbly persona as a pop star, to the more darker, more saturated scenes as Mima starts to lose her identity. The rape scene, as mentioned before, is where we get a blend of both, with Mima in the pristine white clothes with a dark red background, as it's literally Mima shedding her old pop star life. There's a great video by Anime Everyday called The Use of Red in Perfect Blue. I highly recommend the watch. The overall question that is asked is what happens when we start to lose ourselves? What happens when the icon starts to become our true self? There's a reason why I stated that this movie is more scarily relevant today. With the real life events of the Björk stalker to a celebrity, and this film that focuses on the damage of one who cannot tell the difference on the true self to the icon with a celebrity as well, I find it more horrifying knowing where we are as a society today, all thanks to social media. From the 90s, which is when the anime is set in, along with the release of the film, the social icons were largely towards celebrities as well as those with a large amount of following, which serves the anime very nicely. The thing about social media today is that every person is as big of a celebrity as they have a following, a cell phone that gets passed down through a vast amount of ages, as everyone is an audience and everyone is as big of an icon. And this easy accessibility is what makes the film more relevant to this time. Let me know in the comments down below on what you think about Perfect Blue. Also, let me know if you want me to review more anime in the future. Once again, if you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, support the channel by clicking the like button, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.